Hello, friends. Welcome to the weekly update and welcome to Page Chewing. Thanks for listening. On the weekly update, it's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what I probably won't get to, and everything else in between. If you'd like to connect with me, the best place is on our forums at pagechewing.com. We also have a front page blog that we post reviews and other nonsense. I say nonsense a lot, but we do post lots of nonsense. I post poorly written reviews for comics and for books that I've been reading, and other people who know what they're doing post reviews there, so you can pick and choose the good and the bad. But if you join our forums, I do have to approve everyone's membership. So if you're not already a member, it does take me a little bit to go through and make sure that that's not bots or spam coming through. So if you have registered, I will approve you as soon as I can. And also on the forums is where we organize all of our group reads. We have lots of different conversations, lots of top 5 lists, lots of nonsense, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Nonsense seems to be the theme lately. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So lately, what I've been reading is we're reading Cloud Atlas for speculative speculations. And Cloud Atlas, I saw the movie, gosh, I don't know, over 10 years ago now probably. And I really liked it. And I think the movie was kind of a box office bomb. There was I don't remember really what the movie was about. I remember there was different stories, but I couldn't remember how they were connected or what it all meant. I just remember that I liked it. I didn't remember why. But so getting into Cloud Atlas, we've been reading. We are well, there's 6 different stories, and we're on story 5. And every story, it's been tough for me to get into it. If I was reading this on my own, I would have a really tough time following what's going on and being engaged in it. I think because we have the conversations and we talk about what everyone's views are, I've kind of noticed things that I wouldn't have noticed otherwise, which that all the stories are connected somehow. There's kind of commonalities through the stories, and there's ways that all the characters are connected. And I won't give too much away. I really can't give too much away because I don't know, but they are connected in some way. And without the group, without being able to talk about it, I probably wouldn't have finished this book. I don't think there was enough there for me to really get into it. I think having bounce ideas off of people and hearing people's thoughts really has helped me out a lot with Cloud Atlas, from a book I probably would have DNF'd to a book that I'm kind of sort of enjoying. Not to say that I'm loving it. It makes a little bit more sense now, and otherwise it'd be a little bit frustrating. But overall, it's been fun. I am also rereading Dead House Gates. We are on the Page Burners series. We are going through Malazan, Book of the Fallen, including all the Esamot books, and we just started Dead House Gates. I think now we are on chapter 3, and boy, this book is dark. I remember reading Dead House Gates a couple of years ago, and I remember it being dark. I remember it being very bleak. I didn't remember it being this dark and this bleak. It is very bleak. It is very dark. And after Gardens of the Moon, coming into Dead House Gates, it's a big change, because for those of you who have not read Malazan, and those of you who have, know that, or you may have heard that every book, you go to a different place. It's almost like you hit a reset button. There are characters that follow over from the previous book, but from my experience anyway, I haven't read all of them, but it seems like we go to a different place with every book. We go to a different, kind of a different set of characters and different experiences. And it's a little bit jarring at first to go through and to be able to, get attached to these characters in these environments. And then you go to this completely different place, completely different set of characters. But wow, this book has started off fantastic. The prologue is one of my favorite prologues. It is so bleak, so dark, or bark. We can shorten it to bark. But yes, it is. It's tough. It's a tough read at times. But I remember me loving this book because it was so dark. So yeah, so far it's been a lot of fun. And again, there's so much in these books that I just don't pick up. I just don't catch everything. I don't know how you can, unless you're some kind of, genius. I guess there's people out there who can, but I'm not one of those people. So I'm finding lots of stuff. Again, with the conversations that we're having, we do record those on Tuesday nights. So if you'd like to join our little group, I believe there's a spot or two open. Anyone who would like to join, just join our forums and find out more information. Also, I am rereading Watchmen for the 5th or 6th time now, and every time I read Watchmen, I'm reminded how close the Zack Snyder movie is to the actual book. And it's pretty amazing how close he got to just transferring the page to film. And I know a lot of people aren't fans of Zack Snyder. He's kind of hit and miss for me lately, but I think he did a great job with the Watchmen. And I love Watchmen. I love the book. And there's so much more in the book than in the movie, of course, because there always is, right? But wow, it's just a fantastic book, and it's one of the best books I've ever read. I mean, comics or not, graphic novels or not, it's just one of the best. And I believe we are planning a discussion for that as well. Also, I've also been reading lots of comics for panel chewing. Some of the standouts for me this year has been The Sacrificers. The Sacrificers by Rick Remender is just fantastic. I love it. For those who don't know, it is a fantasy world that it's kind of this what's kind of presented as utopia. It's utopia if you're not living in this world, because what happens is there's this powerful government type of thing that's it asks the common people to sacrifice one of their children every so often. So the people, the normal people down below, they all have to sacrifice one of their children every so often as a harvest. No one knows where these kids go. They're just taken, and no one knows what happens to them every so often. That's just the cost of doing business to survive and to keep this utopia that they have. And I won't get into what happens to the kids, but it is wild. There's one character in particular that the character arc has been one of my favorite character arcs. I mean, just if you can imagine all these decisions that this character makes, you really see the good and the bad from all these decisions, and what you may think is a good decision to make turns out to be not so great decision, and there's lots of unforeseen consequences. And that's just life. And that's what I love about it, is that there's, the characters make decisions and there's consequences. There's good and there's bad. And you have to weigh between the two of them. Is it worth the sacrifice? I know that wasn't on purpose, but is it worth the decision to make a certain choice? You have to weigh it and say, okay, is this the end result that I wanted or not? And I think and the character makes lots of mistakes, but I love that the character is trying to do the right thing, trying to enact his or her revenge. And it's great. It's just fantastic. One of my favorite books out right now. So also, if you're a follower of the podcast, there hasn't been many Friday conversations lately. I just haven't had time. I had a string of bad luck there for a while with guests who would sign up to come and then not show up, and it was really frustrating. I was just had a kind of not so great experiences with people not showing up and not kind of ghosting me and things like that. So I kind of wanted it to be more of a casual thing, or more of a thing where I would pick a topic and discuss the topic, even if it was by myself, just kind of the history of something. One of the things I thought about was like the printing press, to really study the printing press and have an episode about that, kind of something like that, where go through the history of it and kind of see where it started and where we are today. But I just haven't had time to dig that deeply into something to really make an episode about it. But if you have a topic, if you have something you want to promote, you have something that you'd like to come and discuss, or just wanted to come and shoot the shit, let me know. We have a thread on the forum, so if you're interested, go by and say hello there. I would like to limit it to people who are on our forum, just because it's easier to maintain. I do have outside guests once in a while, but it's kind of few and far between now. So, but I am looking forward to restarting those at least once a month, because it's been something I've really come to enjoy, and it's really slowed down. And we are close to episode 150. So I really want to do something special for that. I just don't know what, but it's been something I miss. So hope to restart that. So upcoming group reads, as we mentioned, we have Malazan, we have Watchmen, like I just mentioned. We did finish up Swamp Thing finally. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, it's one of those comic book series that I hear heralded as one of the best of all time, and it's this fantastic series, and it's so deep and I love Alan Moore, don't get me wrong. I think this is his first comic book that he wrote. I just couldn't get into it. I just could not get into it. When you bring in all these other superheroes and you pigeonhole other series and other things into it, it just doesn't really work when you're trying to do something, trying to isolate a character and trying to really pinpoint Swamp Thing and explore him and his history and what he is and what he isn't. And you like pigeonhole Batman into the story, or pigeonhole Superman, or so it just feels weird. It just doesn't feel right. I think that's part of it. The other part of it is I just don't think Swamp Thing is very interesting. I just don't care about the character. I don't find him compelling. I just don't find him interesting at all. And I was hoping that would change with Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, but it just didn't. I just don't think he's very interesting. He just doesn't interest me. He's not intriguing at all. And we read through the whole series, and I don't know. It's not something I'm interested in reading again. So I did pick up the box set for that. I'll be taking it to my local comic book shop and getting some weekly pulls out of that instead of keeping it on the shelf for a book that I'm just not going to reread probably ever again. Yeah. So overall, a little bit disappointed. I just could not sink my teeth into it. I just did not really enjoy it that much. There's lots of horror elements. There's lots of purple prose, kind of poetic prose in it. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. There's lots of different stories. All of it seems a little bit discombobulated. It just wasn't for me, unfortunately. I know lots of people love that, but I couldn't get into it. Also, I am hoping to start Brotherhood of the Eagle again, hoping to do kind of a weekly read through or something of that. I know the last book is coming if it's not already out. Also, I would like to eventually do a reread of the Second Apocalypse at a really, really relaxed pace, but for rereaders, people who have already read the books, and pointing out things that you notice in the books that will kind of pay off later, or calls to later in the books, foreshadowing that happens early in the books that you don't see till the very end. I would really love to do that at a very relaxed pace, maybe like one chapter a week or one chapter every 2 weeks. Something very, very slow. It would take us years, but whatever. So that's on my radar. I may do that just by myself if no one else is interested. Speaking of, and when I get to all this, just to get, I talk a lot about not reading as much as I used to. And I've talked about this before, but it goes back to the whole, New Year thing where the new year you set your reading goals. And I never understood that, to set goals to read a certain amount of books. I never understood really reading challenges and things like that. I know it's fun, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody. If you enjoy that, then that's great. I think for some people, it encourages them to read. It encourages them to pick up that book and to finish it, and to kind of to participate in something like that, to encourage to motivate you to read, to finish the book you're reading. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people kind of just it gets to them. It becomes a stress thing. It becomes where they don't feel like they're keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. And I just don't understand that. And that was me for a long time. Don't get me wrong. I felt like I had to read. I was reading 100 pages a day for a couple of years there, just because I wanted to get through all these different books. And it was just so much time devoted to reading. And people thought I read fast. I don't read fast. I just spent a lot of time reading every single day. 100 pages was my goal. And it just really got to me. It kind of burned me out. And I think part of it was trying to keep up and trying to read all the books and just I wanted to experience all these different worlds and all these different authors. I wanted to do all those things because I enjoyed it. I mean, it was fun. But when you have a reading goal, that's just, when you have a few hundred books as a reading goal for a year, it's like, how can you read that fast and really absorb it? I know there's people who can do that. Now there's people I know one person in particular who can do that. I just can't. I don't think most people can, to really read that fast and absorb it. Even back when I was reading 100 pages a week or a day, I would finish a book and then I'd forget a lot of what happened, because you can't really absorb it. You can't really take it in and kind of like breathe it in and enjoy it and really appreciate it for all the work that's put into it. I would think this author spent like a year or 2 years or 3 years writing this book, and I'm reading it in 4 days. It felt wrong in some ways. And like I said, if you're one of those people who can do that, then more power to you. I'm just not. I don't think most people are. So I want to tell you, all of you out there who are, kind of feeling like I need to read more, I need to keep up, I need to get through all these books. I've made the change to take a more relaxed pace and to just read as much as I can. And if I don't get as much as I wanted to, and that's fine too. And it's really helped me out. And I've been enjoying what I'm reading a lot more. That also means that if I do not enjoy a book, if I'm not really digging in, if I'm not really not digging it, then I will DNF it. I will not continue. Because if I'm really taking my time in this book that used to take me 4, 5, 6 days is now taking me a month, I'm not going to spend a month of my reading time on a book I don't enjoy. I'm not going to push through and try to finish a book. One great example is Tigana. The group was reading the Tigana, and within the first, I don't know, hour or two in the audiobook, I was just out. I just did not enjoy it. It was not for me. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't for me. And I threw the towel in. It's just not for me. So I want to tell all of you out there who feel like you have to read faster. I see all these YouTube videos like how to read faster, how to read more books. It's like, how about how to read and enjoy it and just take it in and have fun reading? Because if your goal is to read fast, there are ways I guess you can do that. But yeah, like someone spent a lot of time writing this book. Like soak it in, take it in, enjoy it, feel it, touch it, breathe it in. So those of you who worry about that, I just want to tell you, I've been there. That was me for a long time. But yeah, just take your time. That's what I'm trying to do, is take my time and just enjoy it. Yes, I'm reading less books, but the books that I am reading, I am enjoying a lot more. And I take my takeaway is a lot more than just getting through to the next one like an assembly line. I'm taking in what I'm reading a lot more, and I'm enjoying it a lot more. So that's my rant for the day. I've been seeing a lot of these like how to read faster YouTube videos. It's just, how about how to read more efficiently? How to understand what you read instead of reading faster. But like I said, if you're one of those people who enjoys speed reading, more power to you. That's just not me. So, also coming up this week, we just finished an episode of Spotlight Chewing, so that should be coming. That is with co-host H.L. Tinsley. Our guest this week was A.J. Retker, and we talk about all his upcoming work, Dungeons and Dragons, and lots of other fun topics. So be sure and check that out. That should be live here on Saturday, I believe. So be sure and give that a listen. And other stuff, there's lots of other, I'm reposting all the Berserk stuff from the other podcast, just posting everything in one place. It's a lot easier for me. So if you haven't already, check out Film Chewing, the podcast. We are posting there for all the Oscars project stuff. Come by and check that out if you're interested in that. And yeah, lots of stuff going on. Come by the forum, say hello. I'd love to schedule a Friday conversation with somebody, just even if you're just interested in grabbing a beer and shooting the shit. I need that. I need to just relax for a while. I really need that. But until next time, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming by. If I'd like to know what you're reading, post on the forums. Let me know what you're up to. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to connect with you. Let me know how you are. If you are not okay, hang in there. Things will get better, because they always do. Until next time, we'll talk to you very soon.